It's Halloween. I'm bringing energy. You weren't ready for this, were you?
Absolutely not.
All right.
That's good. I love the energy.
We got to have the energy. So welcome to the Upsun live stream. My name's Greg Qualls. I'm a wannabe developer based out of Texas, and I'm here with Thomas. And today we are going to be doing some of the spookiest stuff that you could ever imagine. We're going to do a load test.
I mean, trying to break things.
I don't know. I mean, it's like, to me, it's fun. This is like, we're gonna break things. We're gonna do it live. We're just gonna figure it out. I don't know. How are you feeling about this? Like, are you ready for this?
We'll see. I guess I would be ready for this. I prefer to break things.
Okay.
Well, in front of people. That's another topic. But let's break things before Black Friday or some other days. I think it's better. You know, it's less spooky.
Yeah.
Even if today is spooky day, wherever you celebrate things.
Yeah, you know, it's like some people might wear costumes. We do load tests.
Yeah, I don't do very good with costumes.
Either way, I'm looking forward to having candy after this to just satiate my soul on all this. But I think before we hop into any of this, I think we need to do a little bit of emerging news.
Let's get ready. Yeah.
Oh, there it is. All right. All right. So as my screen gets shared here, I'm going to start off with today's emerging news. This came out yesterday that Google's CEO said that over 25% of Google's code is now written by AI. And this here's my question on this, because this came out in an earnings kind of analyst call thing. Like, how much of this is what we would consider now like generative LLM AI that, you know, maybe you're utilizing Cursor AI or ChatGPT or Claude or something like that to do it with it? How much do we think of this as possibly just autocomplete that happened? I like, what do you think on that?
It's a very good question. I honestly, I don't know how I feel about this kind of number. Because we don't know if we don't know if there is an AI just writing stuff, and maybe it's good because at the end, if something fails, you can just blame the AI. Or if it just it's just autocompletion.
Blaming the AI seems very dangerous to me, because when the AI does become sentient and start taking over,
you're first on the list.
To me, it's not the AI. It was not. It was, you know, the AI was not given the proper instructions or resources or people behind it to go on. Like, that's what I'm thinking might be the case behind all this. If that's how that works.
Well, maybe we need to wait for a few months, and maybe these figures will keep rising up. Like
We'll s- we'll see.
50% of Google code base have been rewritten by AI. Well, if you want to write a scenario of some disaster movie, this is very good. This is gold because slowly, line of code after line of code, the sentient AI is just taking over. Because at
It
some
works.
point, yeah, we
Well,
just control 100% of this.
what was interesting was at least reading through this article here, they did point out the fact of like this feels like an earnings grab kind of a thing of like, hey, we have to talk about AI because there wasn't a lot of other substance in the call. It was very much this was kind of the main point that came out from it. So I think it'll be interesting if we were able to really dive into what was really meant behind that, how much of that is what is trying to be portrayed in people's head from a perception point of view of like, oh, I just said do this thing, and the next thing you know, I had a fully functioning microservice app that AI created, and 25% of our stuff is done on that. Versus no, like 25% of the time, whenever somebody's starting to type out a line of code, it got auto completed, and that's AI.
No.
So I think in my mind, it's probably the other side from a guy who does probably like 80% of coding with AI. That's a lot of my experience is like, okay, yeah, that looks like it works. Copy, paste, put it in, and go from there. And then it doesn't work, and then you copy and paste the error back in and say, fix this. You go from there.
And also, it's also good for Google to say, okay, we use AI. It's safe to use AI. Maybe that's also the message. Like,
Yeah,
give us money because it's safe. We are using it. Yeah. Yeah.
that could work. All right. Well, what do you have for us this morning?
It's not a tech news, so I don't know if backstage we can share. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So it's not a tech news. Well, not yet. It's geek news.
Ooh.
So we have something I've discovered recently. Like we made great progress in this Langlands program. So you will ask, what is the damn Langland programs?
Okay.
Uh, in the physics world, you may aware of this experience, this work to make a theory of everything. Like
Okay.
physicists are trying to put together a theory of everything physics to unify all the forces in something common. Well, Langland program is the equivalent for mathematics, for maths, and named after a Canadian mathematician, Robert Langlands. And basically, they made almost a proof that this is working. So those guys, all Robert Langland and a huge number of mathematicians around the world, kind of prove that we can unify everything math in one thing. So I'll be fully honest, this article is way above my leagues. Like I've made a lot of maths when I was a student, like a couple of years, let's say years ago, and now I can barely count on my fingers. So check this. Find YouTube videos for this. It's absolutely amazing. So if you're a nerd, I think you would enjoy this.
I yeah, it's above my head. Just you even describing it is above my head, I think.
Theory of everything, just
I'm,
theory of
I'm
everything.
yeah,
This
it's just
blows
like
my mind. It's like something we are trying to do, like platform engineering. Like we try to build a platform on top, everything else could be built. Well, it's some kind of math equivalent. Like you need everything
ah.
in a coherent way, and on top of this, you will be able to build a lot of crazy stuff and push the boundary forward. This is insane. It's
Okay. Now that makes sense in the sense of like they want a math equation that all other math equations in essence can be either proved or built upon because it's been proved.
Yeah, and whatever the field, the mathematical field you are in, everything could fall in one single way of solving stuff. From my understanding, if it's not correct, like leave messages, leave messages.
This makes sense. All right. Cool. Uh
Maybe
well,
we can move to the touch of the day.
I hope so because I got some cool stuff.
Yeah, good. So that's touch of the day. Maybe we can explain. It's where we showcase cool stuff we found.
Yeah, just little fun things that make us happy. That
Yeah.
hopefully will make other people happy too.
Dude, I think I will start because
Yes.
actually,
I think you're up first, according
yeah,
to
I'm
the
first on the.
notes on my other.
Yeah, I'm first on this. I'm slanted. Um,
Not pretending like oh, this is just all organic. We didn't plan any of this. Yeah.
oh, Can you share again my screen, please? So actually, I have another news, but you say, oh, it's Stash of the Day. Because there is this kind of weird news happening those days in the dev world, this WordPress WP engine drama. And I feel like we had to talk about it, but I don't want to talk about it. And it's kind of weird, a mix of business stuff, open source, and
I,
three toddlers in a trench coats making erratic decisions. So
to me, it's did you ever see the Godzilla movie whenever the Titan and the Godzilla is about to go? Okay, there's like a scene in
no.
it where the main the main scientist and he goes, "Let them fight," and I'm like, that's my viewpoint on it right now. Just let it happen. Just
Yeah,
see
but
where it
just
lands when it's done.
every other day there is some new development, and it's always a bit sad. So I feel that we had to talk about it, but I don't want to talk about it. And I find the right tool for that. It's, well, maybe it's been written by an AI, but it's a product released by the Google Labs Notebook LM. Um, Basically, it's a tool designed for writers, so it helps you keep track of backstories and fact checks. It's like RAG, retrieval augmented generation. So you fill in some source, and it will, you ask some question, and it will grab things out of your source and say exactly what's uh, where everything is located, and it can help you keep track of things. I know that yeah, World of Warcraft people
Oh,
are using it when you are building something. I'm not this kind of people. Like I'm more.
yeah, but
I write novel on the side. So that's not my jam, but I know it's
yeah,
very useful.
I've seen things with this. So it's basically the idea is like with Notebook LM on the left hand side there, you're able to add all these sources and documentation and everything like that.
Exactly, everything
And
there.
then it's basically giving you your own generative AI to then ask or create based upon the documentation that you already gave it.
Exactly.
And but you mentioned it and I was like, "Huh, okay." Like last week and I hopped in and just started playing with it a little bit and I was like, this is kind of fun. I can have some fun with this, dropping in different things and checking on it and but I think you had it here, but we couldn't get the audio going on. One of the interesting features that they did is what your show was there is for it to
Yeah,
create its own podcast.
yeah, that's something I wanted to showcase, but we cannot really release audio. It may be that better because we don't really want to hear anything. Well, product-wise, it's interesting, but it's a bit of an add-on. I don't really understand how this podcast feature really integrates with everything, because I'm seeing it with the eye of a writer,
Yeah.
and I think it's really good to keep fact straight, and having random people talking about
Yeah.
stuff with a bit, sometimes a bit of hallucination. Well, it's good. It's
Yeah.
really good. Audio is good, but kind of may. So,
But every
but
now
it's
and then
fun.
it's just gonna do what generative AI does. It's going to generate and it's
Well,
going to just make things up. And so it's fun with that part of it. But I think it was interesting for me because there's some people that are just better at hearing stuff. And so being able to like maybe create that and then summarize large forms of documents, giving all that kind of stuff, and then you're able to output it and then listen to it in your car as you're on a commute or working in the yard or whatever you're doing with it that you listen to your podcast about. So I
yeah, but
think it.
it's not really only making an audio version of what you wrote. It's
Yes, no,
recreating something entirely different based on what you wrote,
yeah,
which, well,
yeah. I guess that could be interesting in that case, but I don't
yeah.
know. For
What
me,
about you?
it's fun. I think there's a lot of things with AI right now that come out that it's like it's fun to play with, and then through the play all of a sudden we'll see what the actual application can come of it and where it comes about.
Absolutely.
So I think it's one of those things. It's like I'm not going to discount it right now, but even though I can't figure it out, somebody's going to be like, oh, here's what we do with this. And hopefully it's not the somebody that's just going to create a bunch of junk podcasts and put it out there to try to do a cash grab. But that's already happened, we know that, but we'll go there. All right,
Uh,
I've got my stash of the day and I'm feeling entirely geeky. on this one. I'm feeling like another level of things here by the fact that mine is just a single command for your terminal, and that I found out about this last week. So if we share my screen on here, it's a git command. Oh, 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 oh,
Yeah,
oh,
this
oh,
the one. I'm good. Thank you.
I'm curious. I'm going to throw this out there to you, Thomas. What do you think this does?
So it fetches other branches and find the main. Great main. What do you want? So you
Uh-huh.
find the one containing main or starting with main,
Uh-huh.
and you delete main. You do you want to
No,
delete your main branch?
no. The opposite of this.
Oh, everything that's not main, you delete
Ex-
everything that's not main.
for local. This is amazing for me because I use linear
Oh,
and I'll create so many local branches and I push them off and it'll delete it in the repository whenever I commit my code, but it doesn't delete it locally. And that's maybe a setting or thing on my side. So all of a sudden I'll go in and do git status or git branch and I see all these like branches there. And I was like, there's got to be an easy way to just get rid of all of the local branches except for my main branch. And this is the line of code that does that. That in one fell swoop, I'm cleaned up with all of my local branches and I'm back just to main.
and I really just did it from you because, like, on some projects, I have something absolutely insane I cannot show on screen, like so many
Yep.
dead local branches.
Uh-huh.
And that main is the reason why I somehow have a long branch name now because all the shorter one are already
Taken.
taken. Yeah, that's that's good.
Dev 1, Dev
Yeah,
2, Dev
yeah.
ampersand. Just
Yeah, final slash okay, approve final. Yeah.
final version 7. Yes, I love all this. But yeah, to me it's like I think I'm going to call it like git bankruptcy. So it's like you just declare bankruptcy on all your local branches, you delete all of them and all you have is main at the end of it. But yeah, this was a fun one I came across about like 2 weeks ago, and every now and then I just go in. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, and I have this saved in a notepad. Just grab it, copy, paste, and go from there. And then next thing I know, I'm back just the main and little git pull, git check out dash B, and I'm ready to go.
You know that you can create aliases with Git, so you can truly create a Git alias locally called bankrupt, and with this, it will just trigger this every time you
Oh,
like Git bankrupt, and this will be
okay.
run.
We just hit a whole nother level of this that is now going to happen, but I love it. Well, speaking of main branches, I think it's now time to merge into our main topic of the day, the main
Absolutely.
branch.
Let's try to break things
Yes.
before Black Friday breaks us.
Yes, before Black Friday breaks us, we're going to do this. Okay. So we were talking a little bit about before this of how we're going to go about doing this. And I think step one is kind of just hopping in to show what we're starting with, like the base, the foundation on this. So I've got my screen ready, I think, and I can share it on there, and then we'll pop over to you, Thomas, as
Yep,
we dive into
sure.
this, because you're the one that set up all this. Let's be very clear. I'm not the smart one here in the room. I'm the one that asks
Well,
the
I'm
questions.
not either because
I'm a,
this
hey,
is our colleague Vincent who helped us build this shopware application at first. I added a layer of load balancing, but yeah,
okay,
it's
I
a
like it.
teamwork. It's a
It's how it
teamwork
all
behind the
works.
scene.
So we are in the Upsun console right here, so everybody kind of knows if this is the first time anybody's seeing this. You get a little preview image here of what your site looks like. You're able to see kind of the branches and environments that are available. Of course, you know this is like a cooking show, so we do have a couple of things already here, setting and ready in the oven just in case we need to. But we're also going to try to do all this live just in case. But rolling through here, this was the big thing I wanted to kind of look at here is this apps and services because of course, routing layer. We have here I'm guessing this is the shopware app, right? As far as that's
Oh
concerned.
yeah,
Come on.
yeah. It's
Perfect.
this one
And
on my
then we
screen,
have
but yeah.
that's PHP, but then next to it we have the Python one, which is Locus, which is what you features last week is an open source load testing software. So that's what we're going to run this with. And then we have caching with Redis. We have RabbitMQ for our queues. We have file sharing, and we have the database with I think that's MySQL. And then you also have an app queue, a PHP worker down here to kind of manage all that. Am I missing anything on it?
No, I think it's
Okay.
good.
All right. Overall, just for anybody that wants to keep track here, you're in the numbers game. Total for all of these apps, we're running at 3.35 CPUs, 3.75 gigabytes of RAM, and 9 gigabytes of storage involved with all this. And all right, so I think we have a general idea of all this. So we got shopware running on Upsun. And now we're going to try to do some load tests into this. So I think that's probably now we're transition over to Thomas to your screen to kind of show us diving into what we're going to do here.
Absolutely. So yeah, if you are very curious, this is this kind of demo application like we have. It's not very good, but it's full loaded with many of Modi and book and weird stuff. Um,
I
ma-
actually
ma-
looked that up because I was like, can I add real images in here? And that it was interesting that it's actually a GitHub repository that will auto generate images to fill in stuff like this. That it's just
Yeah, during the import, but I think now you can log into Shopware backend and
yeah.
update everything and make it nice. Well, but it's we don't really need. Maybe before I start, quick reminder for those who were not there during the last live stream. Um, we kind of said three things to get ready for a Black Friday of this kind of product launch. Like you need to be able to load test your application first. You need to be able to not load test your application on your production branch because you will surely, yeah, that's the whole story. You will just DDoS yourself, and you don't want to do this in production. So you need to clone your production. And when you are scaling your application, when you are doing the load test, so you define a target in terms of number of concurrent users. That's your objective for your launch day, and you have to configure to scale your application correctly. So you make sure that you have enough CPU, RAM, everything, enough instances within each and every container you're using. That's the entry point. So maybe the first thing we could do is to go there and see what we can do. There is a good thing.
If you did something, we're not seeing it.
Oh, it's not sharing my entire screen.
No.
Oh dear.
Here, come back over to mine. Was the first thing going to be going to create a staging branch?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So let's.
Cool. I'll do it through the console because I'm more of a UI person here. And so we'll just keep this simple, call it staging, right? I think so. And then we'll make sure that the environment type. Now, here's the cool thing with Upsun that I love is we can just have it use the exact same resources. It's not going to use the parent branch's resources. It's just matching it. It's syncing across, to be clear here. That can be kind of confusing. It's like, oh, so I'm just using the resources of the parent branch. No, this is saying, hey, as far as how we're doing it, it's going to be there. But we could do default all there. And then, of course, there's a nice little CLI command here if somebody wanted to do it there, which I think that's what Thomas was about to do because he's better than me on that. But then all we got to do is create a branch. And right now it's going to start cloning on it and going from there.
And thank you for that. Thank you for saving me. And indeed, you know what? I barely use the UI. Indeed, I'm doing everything CLI.
Yeah.
That's also the cool thing. Like Epson is Git based, so Git is your source of truth. And if you have an integration with your Git repository, as you should have, and I don't think we actually have on this demo project, everything you like don't change anything. Like of course there is Epson CLI, but if you
Yeah.
do Git branch, it will just ultimately do an Epson branch and create a branch from wherever environment you want and make a carbon copy of it. It's so great.
Perfect. Well, it's sitting there. It's waiting. And so with that, do you have your new screen to share? Are you sharing it currently?
Hopefully, I say it.
There you are.
Yeah, it's much better. You know what? I can simply explain how this project is set up for people not familiar with Epson. It will be useful. So we have one repository with multiple applications there. We have this Shopper application, that the PHP one, and we have Locust to make the load testing. And we have this .epson folder as a root, and this is the uh, the configuration of our application. So let me hide this, and I hope everything is legible. I put it in very big. So we have in this YAML file, everything is YAML. So you can find these two applications and all the services we will be using. So we have this PHP 3 application that with root is shopware, and you can define everything you want. You have the possibility to define environment variable within this file. You have possibility to define other environment variable from the UI, like the most secure one should be not obviously in your Git repository, but someplace else. So you can describe everything you want there. And on the other side, I've got this Locust application. Locust, if you're not familiar with it, it's an open source load testing tool using Python. And I'm a lousy Pythonist, but I love Python. So it's the explanation of everything. So this project, I haven't done much. I've just said during the build, like, okay, pip, like install upgrade pip and install locust and request because I will be using this. Now let me show you what I do for locust.
Okay.
So
Yeah, because I'm excited about this. I watched a couple of videos yesterday, but
yeah, so what we want, maybe let's start with this. What we want is to actually replicate the real user traffic. You just don't want a great number of people doing stuff to your on your site. We want to replicate a lot of realistic user journeys. So the first thing is actually something we're not displaying it. Like you should spend some time in your analytics and find pattern, what people are actually doing. And when you have done this, you need, well, let me start with this. Every time I start locust, I'm executing this function flex feature. What it's all about. And I have fat fingers. What this application, this script is doing is fetching the application API. So I'm using some credentials that are securely stored someplace else. And I will be calling the API to make a large JSON file with all the sales channel, all the SEO, URL, all the keywords, all the products, product pages, all the categories pages. So
it's almost like it's creating its own sitemap.
exactly, I'm recreating
Awesome.
accurate sitemap. So since I'm executing this part of the script, every time I start the load testing, I'm 100% sure to always rely on accurate data. So there won't be any 404s because you hard-coded something that no longer exists, and you really want to do that. So you make these catalogs of IDs and product categories and everything. And then you start generating traffic. So you want to, what I also did is I created helper functions that will just do the step-by-step parts of this thing. So I'm creating a visit, somebody bouncing. So that person goes to the home page and go away. You have many of those. Then I'm making a light visit. So they go to the home page and 3 times they search for something and go to some navigation and to product detail and start again. And you can create everything you want. You can have logged in cart, logged out cart. You can be super creative with this. I think I have also, very fast order. Somebody that really want
They know
one
what they
thing,
want.
they know what they want.
I
Like,
want the new shoes.
but exactly, that's also the scenario you want. So if
Well,
it's
especially you got Black Friday. That you're like, I know, I'm waiting. This is going to go on sale on Black Friday. This is what I'm going after.
yeah, and maybe also like it's not Black Friday what you are not testing for. It's a product launch. Like
Yeah.
you are a game company and you are releasing finally a game long expected. You know that people will just go straight to this page refresh until they're able to, they see it's available and add it to the cart and try to place an order. So that's exactly the kind of scenarios you want to test. And
Awesome.
also test some large cards. So I've got 20, maybe I should have made 200 there. Yeah. Oh,
Sure.
last time I shared another story when I was working in a ticketing company, and our fear was those people eager to book a lot of tickets at the beginning of the season. So it's a group of folks that always go to this place, let's say 10 times a year, and there are 12 people and they make large orders. So they try to book 12 seats, 12, 15 seats all together. So if you compute um,
Yeah.
seats allocation, and so it's very greedy in terms of resources, and so it's really good thing you may need to take care of.
Okay.
So
Pause real quick.
yeah,
I want for all the developers out there that whenever your managers and higher ups are telling you like, hey, we probably need to do a load test, whatever that you're doing this is a perfect section of this video to go back and show this to them. But whenever they say, well, why can't we just do it like this? Like it's not that simple. Like
no,
it takes time to actually build out the scenarios and to do it right. Cause like, yeah, we could do a load test real quick, just DDoS the site, right off the bat and see how it handles it. But that's not going to give you the reality of what's really going to happen and trying to think through those scenarios and going from there. This is awesome. I never thought about like thinking through the scenarios and building them out into a load test. In my mind, it was just like, oh yeah, we're just flooding traffic at the app. But it's like, no, you need to be specific in how it's going to interact with the app to make that happen.
yeah, because what you really want at the end of the day is actually not load testing. You want to know your breaking point.
Mm,
That's the key fact you want. You want to know starting what level of traffic your application starts slowing down, and with what level of traffic your application is crashing down, because this figure will translate into your maximum revenue for your application. That's
yeah.
exactly that. That the maximum you can handle 1,000, 10,000, I don't know, 1 million, I don't, whatever the number is for you, but this is the maximum concurrent user you can have. And you know that this will translate in roughly always the same amount of money per concurrent user. So this is the cap of your application. So the cap of your business. So you want to know this if you want to grow your application and business, because you want to push this number farther away every time, but you need to know where you are currently.
Love it. All right. Well, what's next? So we have it all built.
You have all built, but it's so far we are not actually using it. So I will go back to close the Python thing and go back to my configuration there, because in my locust app, so maybe I need to fold a few
There we go.
things and remove. Here's what I've made there. So obviously, this is a fake application. It's a surprise for nobody. You see how not good looking it is. So I'm using Locust to generate the base traffic for my application. But this is exactly what you will need to run. So this command will say, okay, you will run launch Locust in a headless mode. Obviously, you're not using a new UI saying how many users you are using. I have set up this kind of mild traffic, minimum traffic, 25 concurrent users with a
Okay.
spawn rate of 5, meaning these 25 users are just coming by group of fives. That mainly the same what it's saying, and this will run for 5 minutes.
Okay.
That's the thing. So if you want to make a load test, you will execute this command with whatever crazy number you are there, and maybe more, because if you
Yeah.
want to break things, let's break things and see what's happening. That
Okay.
maybe what we could do. I'm a bit scared, honestly. Maybe I
Let's do this. It's a spooky day.
But it's like live your day, live your every day like as if it will be the last. Maybe if we break,
I was gonna say we just have to tell ourselves this isn't a real site. Where our jobs are not on the line if this breaks. It's great.
Yeah, we'll see. So maybe we need to go back on your site to see if this branch has been created.
Okay, so if we go back to my shared screen, it is baking right now.
It's still baking. Okay.
It is, but it is it's getting closer, I'd say. Where are we in the build process here as I go from there? Oh, it's opening environment. We should be done in a few seconds here at this point.
That's very good. That's very good.
I was gonna say, it was interesting. I think it had waiting for activities to complete. Something was going on from a wait period, but from actual start time, we're at 9:29:45 was when it started, and now we're at 9:33, so we're about 5 minutes into the build.
You know what? You can
Executing
go back
post deploy hooks. We're getting there. Blackfire build scheduled. Oh wait, we're good. We've got environment routes. We're green. We got check marks.
Oh, perfect.
You have a staging environment, my friend. And what we can do here, let's look at this real quick. So we go to main. If we look at main, we got 3.3 CPU, 3.7 gigabytes of RAM. And then I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to go into staging, 3.3 CPU, 3.7 gigabytes of RAM. So we're match for match, and we know we have the same data and all this. In fact, here, let me look at my staging. And the staging, as it's loading, boom, looks exactly the same as the demo store that you were showing me in main.
That's perfect. So maybe let's give it a try and then.
All right, back to you.
Can we go back to my screen? So, okay, I'm on the CLI. So let's just run Upsun and just explain me where we are. And indeed, I can see that I have this staging branch. So let's Upsun check out. When people are watching, I don't know how to type.
Everything gets misspelled immediately the second like you have to type in front of people. You're like, Upsun, does that start with a B? Like,
well, I'm already dyslexic enough, but that's good. And so what we will do now is Upsun SSH. We want to SSH in this application. And fun things. We are prompting like, in what environment do we need to SSH? Of course, there is the application. So the app is the shopware application or the queue of this application or locust. And yeah, indeed, we want to be in locust. So let's do 2. And now I'm there. So maybe I should have rehearsed more because I don't know if this will work actually. Let's give this a try.
And users, I was like, let's start a little smaller on the users. Start off with, I don't know. How big is this Black Friday?
I don't know. I have no idea what. Well, if you're there, just leave message like, yeah. What's your Black Friday for you? Like,
let's not break it immediately. So let's start off like 50 spawn rate. I feel like that's like we that many users, but like how many chunks are they coming in? Like 500. All right. Well, you hit enter. We're going for it.
Yeah, well, just 1,000. I think it's okay.
Ramp to 1,000 users, race of 50 per second. Okay. So if we want to hop over to mine, I'm on the resources now, and I'm trying to see what happens over here as this goes on. We're right now, we got 51 seconds ago. Can I click on that to read? Nope. Okay. I was going to see if we can do this. So this will actually show us in Upsun what is going on from a resource standpoint. So this is the resources happening as we speak inside of the app, which right now, nothing's necessarily happened, but we're about 7-8 seconds ago. We just reset. So is it running on your side? Are you?
It's still running on my side.
Okay, cool. So from the application standpoint, we're doing good. RAM, we're doing good. Persistent disk, temporary disk, and then there's locust. Doesn't look like a locust has necessarily kicked in just yet. I imagine that's going to go up. We get to see all of our services, our database, file share, RabbitMQ, and then the workers happening here. So we can keep an eye here, at least inside of Upsun, as to what's happening across the board on this. And I just realized that, okay, this is me being slow, that by hovering over this, it will show me per app container what they're actually doing on there. That's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. All right. I'm just waiting for it. HPT. Oh, there we go. There's the traffic side of it. So now we're seeing that.
It's ramping up. It's
Yeah,
ramping
it's
up.
ramping up. So we're getting there. This is like, I feel like it's like the anxiety just slowly kicking in. Yeah, Chad just put in there to the moon. We're taking off here, people.
And
Thomas
maybe
in our
once you are sharing this screen, maybe you can go to Blackfire. So I've shared a
oh,
specific link to Blackfire dashboard on our Slack. So maybe if you
yeah.
can copy it and paste
No,
it.
I think we're on your side with it.
Oh, you're on my side. Perfect. So we can see. So what we advise you to do. So it's not about only load testing. Load testing is good to figure out your breaking points and to make sure that you are correctly scaled for that breaking point, like you have enough resources. But it maybe a bit more than this. Like you need to assess the how flaky your application turns under those circumstances. So please use observability. So please use those tools like we are using Blackfire because it's the tool we are developing internally. Please use observability to know what's really happening, and maybe I should go live. It would be better. And you can see live using monitoring. Oh, it's not enabled. Oh.
There it goes. It's kicking in now.
And there is an error. Oh,
The fun of demo.
the demo
We put
effect
that.
I love.
Wait. That's not an error. That's a feature in this current moment here of just having the conversation about make sure you run through everything before you get going and
Yeah,
stuff. That's
and yeah, we take spooky thing seriously on this day,
yeah,
so we
yeah.
just plans error there and there to make sure that everything is fine.
Okay.
But basically, once this is happening, you can check for the available dimension, what is really happening live. So maybe it's
So,
already. I think
yeah,
it's
it's running
already.
on my side. I was gonna say I can see the traffic going up, and then our CPU usage is definitely so. Like if we look at HTTP traffic, we're definitely still going to the moon on that side, and then we've got CPU here is actually kind of plateauing. It's interesting to me. So we're sticking at about for the app itself, it's plateauing across the board here, and then over here we also have a little bit of a plateau kicking in on the overall on all of them. So it's kind of
That's
interesting.
yeah. That's
Oh,
oh
we lost Thomas. Oh, there we go.
yeah. I've got unstable connection today. Sorry for that. I don't know
It's
what's
all
happening.
good. It's all good. You're running. Somebody's load testing against you. What's interesting to me is Locust. I thought for some reason, I don't know why, running Locust in the same, in the same deal. I was like, okay, that's interesting. But I was like, I thought you would need a lot more resources to run the load test.
No,
And
I don't think you really need that much.
yeah,
But it's a good call. It's a good call. Maybe it will depend on your situation. So
yeah.
we
If you
took we took the approach. So maybe for everybody to see that they have actually options. So we took the approach to have multiple applications within our project. So one is for load testing and the other is the main application. Maybe you don't want to do this. So those Locust and all the main load testing tools, most have an open source version and a SaaS version of it. So we are not affiliated with any of those. So you have the option, like, do you want to make this yourself? So maintain, you will still have to write your script and your load testing strategy. So this will always rely on you. But do you want to the triggering part of the load test be your responsibility or not? It's something you decide. Like with Epson, you have this freedom. You can actually do it, and it's kind of effortless, but it's an option.
It's
So
interesting. I keep waiting to see because the CPU is staying the same and RAM staying the same. I keep expecting it to come back over to the traffic and seeing that like it's slowed down, but we're still growing. This is interesting to me. Shopware's holding up strong.
Shopware is great. And
We
again,
should
I'm not
maybe we
Shopware
should have picked a
affiliated.
different app to try to break things with because it's like bring it.
Well, we are very friend with the Shopware people and Shopware
Yeah.
communities. I don't want to Yeah,
It's
like we
fine.
already talked about
I
this.
talked
Yeah,
with them when I was in Paris last, and I was like, "We're gonna try to break it." They're like, "Do it! It'd be awesome." I'm like, "Okay, cool."
and indeed they are.
Yeah.
But the framework also, like joking aside, framework is one thing.
Uh huh.
So you can rely on a very strong framework. Like Shopware is great. Behind the scenes, there are Symfony components. So
Hmm.
Symfony is awesome. But maybe the breaking point is not the framework. So maybe what you have done with it. That's often a situation where like you are the one.
Yeah. I don't. Is this? This is just me being curious, and you might know. Is this partly maybe happening because we have caching in place and all that too to help out with this?
That's absolutely possible indeed. Yeah.
Yeah, because
But
it's
it's good because, like, at the end, you don't want to DDoS your application for the pure sake of DDoSing yourself. Like, you want to make sure that you are able to handle a specific traffic. So
yeah, and
caching is key. And last time, yeah, last time we discussed, I think Guillaume was the one discussing it. So caching is absolutely important. Yeah.
yeah, I'm seeing Locust. Oh, the RAM is picking up on Locust now too, so that's cool. Just seeing that going on. It's not much, but it's going on with it. Okay. Um.
And
Uh.
also, what maybe we need to understand for to fully like to have a full picture of things. Of course, our locust container is using resources, but the fact that you have one container, so it's a different application, actually entirely different application,
Yeah.
that can be struggling. It doesn't mean having locust taking resources does that impact positively or negatively the rest of the application, because all containers are isolated. So
Yeah. So it's not a, even though they're in the same project, they're not
yeah,
utilizing the same resources. So when I was running through the total amount of it, that's just the total amount that's in your project, not in a container. Each
exactly. Yeah,
container is in and of itself. I think that was I was gonna say, do we want to, okay, so it looks like the traffic is leveled out here.
yeah. Maybe we are reaching the end.
Okay. Do you want to reset that? And I'm gonna just and we go for it. Add a zero.
Oh
Add a
yeah.
zero or two.
I'm just waiting for locust to
Oh,
end.
so it'll actually finish. It runs through it and then kind of stops.
Yeah, yeah. Normally it
Ah,
does that. Yeah.
okay. Well, then I will go ahead and show real quick on my side if somebody's interested here, kind of that resource side of it. So being able to see in here what you're talking about is how with each individual container, you're able to then decide, oh, I want this much CPU, RAM. And this is just through the user interface console side of it. You can get more granular from what I understand from the CLI side of it. So if we wanted it to be 0.35 CPU, if I'm understanding right, I could do that.
You can just do that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. But it's just not in here because otherwise,
I think so.
yeah, we'd be there for days. But then on top of it, for things that can have multiple instances, so not your services, but definitely like your application, you could literally just, okay, I want this, but I want 3 instances of it, or I want 8 instances of it, and how much storage along with it, and then you're able to save it and go from there.
Yeah, and that's
Oh, and
very good. And you can do it live. Like really, again, like something you have to keep in mind. Like Black Fridays, those kind of critical days are kind of tough, and you want to make sure that you are correctly scale and adjust, and you don't have to update anything in your configuration to do it. So you can simply track the health of your application during those days and instantly add a few more resources there and maybe scale down.
yeah,
um,
I
and
was
the instance cloning, maybe we should speak a bit more about the instance cloning, because it's kind of great.
you speak about that, and you just saying that, I'm gonna do it while we're talking.
Okay, so instance cloning. So if you think that you need more instance to handle the traffic, what you do is using a CLI or using the UI, you simply add more of the instance, the application instance. And what we are doing behind the scene is that we will replicate the application container as many times as you asked, and we add a load balancer for you, and it will just work. So if you have these really tough moments, tough days, you scale up, and then once everything is down, you just scale down, doing the exact same thing. So it's really great, and you can really choose to scale what you need. You cannot do the same thing yet for your services because it's way more complicated. Like if you have multiple instances of your database, it's not about adding more databases, it's about
Yeah.
syncing data within. So that's another game.
Well, and even if your database is your bottleneck, well, you can't add instances. You can, in that same vein, increase resources, and you
Yeah.
can do that live just the same as what we're doing right here now. That's what I was
And
trying to show. Is like we're still. Oh wait, traffic dropped off. I think Locust just ended
yeah. So
on your
on my
side.
side, it's still,
Dang it,
oh, connection corrupted. So yeah, it's dead on my side, but I was not aware. So okay, let's.
that works. I was like, I was gonna show it doing it live in the moment, but the Locust stopped as traffic was going on. But
So
it's almost done.
do you
Next.
want to give it another try? That's what you wanted to.
Yeah, add a 0. Let's do it. I've already added 3 instances, so let's see what we can.
Uh,
I don't know, go crazy. You tell me what crazy is on this. I'm like adding zeros to each of these in my mind.
so maybe spawn rate. I think spawn rate is already okay, but well, yeah, I don't even know how to pronounce this in English. It's a lot.
A hundred, 100,000. Yeah,
100,000. Yeah, it's
100,000 users.
yeah.
That feels like a good day.
And let's do it for 10 minutes.
Sounds good. We
Yeah.
got the last 10 minutes of this, so we'll have that baking and going on in the background. And now we tripled the instances, so we have that going now. That finished. If we show on my side that the resources are already out there and going, and it only took 2 minutes total to basically triple your capacity on your app
That's insane. And a few clicks only.
and a few clicks. Yeah,
Yeah.
somebody
So
who
no need to bother a group of DevOps in a rush because I don't
nope.
think we like to work in a hurry when everything is in fire.
Uh-huh. And we can see too. So it's interesting here at the top. It wasn't 5.3, but now we're back up to 5. We have 5.3 there to do it. So, yep, everything's kicking back in. We've got options kicking in here. This is fun. Okay. Thank you for putting all the work in, by the way, Thomas, of building out the locus for the load test on this. Because at first I was just, oh yeah, and you're like, yeah, I'll do it. And now it's like when you walk through, here's all the steps I had to go through to make this happen.
Yeah, but I think it's good to share this live because like yeah, actually you should invest in this, so you should spend time. And okay, I'm maybe not the best developer on the planet, and it took me 3 days, and I guess it could take you more than this if you want to really do good analytics works before, because if it's a fake application, I have mostly no idea what to replicate perfectly. So it could take you like over a week to fully set this up. But again, it's an investment. Like you should reuse this as often as you can. Not just a couple of days before Black Friday.
Yeah. Also, I just realized I wasn't even showing the profiling is actually in Upsun as well, too. So you can
Yeah.
hop in here.
Continuous
You can look at,
profiling is available in Epson.
yep. So you're able to see everything going on inside of here. Yeah. I was trying to look at this. Auto load runtime PHP looks like it's the one that's taking the longest on all this. Is that
Yeah.
correct? Yeah. So 150 milliseconds consumed. So much time. Takes so much time for that to happen. Let's look back at our traffic as we're climbing already quicker than we were before. We're gonna get to the moon even faster. And resource usage is picking up as well. This is cool. I don't know. Typically, this is a part I think we'll keep going on with this, but do we have any questions out there in the comment section? I've been keeping an eye on YouTube. I haven't seen anybody popping any questions on this, but I don't know if that would pop
I
up as we
don't
kind of
see
wrap this all
anything
up.
on Restream yet, but it will be yes. Just
Yeah, if you guys got questions, pop them in there, and we'll try to answer them. Whether it's about Upsun, load testing, Halloween traditions,
yeah,
Agatha all along. I finished the season finale last night, so if anybody wants to talk about that, I'm good to go.
recipe says anything you like.
Recipes.
Yeah, recipes. Yeah.
Hey, I just got back from New Orleans. I got one or two. I
Oh,
had some barbecue shrimp. Oh my gosh, it was good.
yeah.
So
New Orleans is on my list. Yeah, long time I've never not been in US, but I really want to go in New Orleans
it
and
was my
enjoy the
first
food.
time, and I want to go back more often now. I had an amazing experience there. The food was fantastic, and I just the more I can get of New Orleans, the happier I will be. All right.
Kudos
Okay,
to
we're climbing back
Greg
up.
there.
And I'm like, all right, seen on this one. And it's like, I feel like I should be sports commentator on this. Maybe it's like, all right, we're at 400 users right now, moving towards the goal line.
And the CPU is
CPU's holding strong, RAM's
oh,
holding strong, persistent disk is persistent.
we're 10 seconds from the end. We need break.
Yeah, this is awesome though. I'm like, I've got a couple of apps in my head that I'm like, okay, how could I set this up and just play with it and try from there?
Yeah, I think you should do it actually not only for e-commerce application, but you for any kind of
Yeah.
application, you should be able to know your breaking points and know what part of your application becomes flaky under this level of traffic and start optimizing from there. So do it on a regular basis and so invest in it. And by invest, I mean like a bit of time, a bit of money. You choose your mix, and you should have one click thing, one command thing to trigger those tests to make sure that anyone actually in your team can do it, and not only you that have made this.
Well, and knowing too where the breaking points are for you allows you to then communicate with leadership as new things come out, new features, functionality of, hey, we need to do a product launch. You're able to tell them in advance, well, okay, in order to do that, we need to, add this much, to our resources
Yeah,
because there's costs involved with that, but you're able to then communicate those costs in advance and everybody's being able to be on the same page. And from a leadership perspective, they're able to run the numbers on, is it worth it to do that? Because sometimes that's not the case of going like, well, rather than a big launch, maybe we should figure out how to do it differently, where it's a phased launch or something like that. We have people sign up and then they step by step to get to the different pieces of it. But being able to have that from a communication standpoint, to me, it's data just allows you to have leverage in conversations.
yeah.
And what was it? The other phrase I heard this weekend, somebody said, information is calming.
Well, it's absolutely true. Well,
Yeah.
you are in a situation to make informed decision, and that's very good. Uh, you know, often
Gonna back up there.
I've got some mistake there on my side, so I don't know what's happening.
Is it
Maybe
dropping on yours?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
dropping on mine. I think
We're in the last minutes of this anyways, so
yeah,
I
I
think
think
I
I
think in
broke.
general people are getting the idea of the load
I
test. So
think I broke Locust. Actually, that's what happened.
we need to load test Locus before doing
Yeah.
this. That's where we needed to figure this all out.
So
But
I need to find how to break it. But just to continue on the point you were saying, I think it's super important. Like quite often, there is a request to add a feature or just some evolution. People say, "Oh, it's nothing. It's just a couple of more requests." And yeah, a couple of more requests is nothing. But doing this kind of tests, you will have figures. You say, okay, with the current level of resources allocated, meaning with the pricing for the hosting, we can handle before this addition, we could handle this level of traffic. And after that, we could handle 10% less. So if we want to handle the same level of traffic of before, we have to raise the traffic, we have to raise the resources, and it will cost us that many more. And this is the kind of a discussion you will actually want to have with your leadership. Because then you can make a real decision knowing the consequences. And you
Uh,
know this before going live.
yes, and that's kind of the big part of this that makes this whole nice is we were doing all of this and none of it was in production. Everything was in
Yep.
a staging environment or some connection thereof, and being able to play with it and go from there. And the beauty of it too is now when this is done, I just get to go kill those environments and there's no additional cost. I only paid for it while it was happening to be able to do the test and run from there. Well, I think that's going to be it. We're going to wrap up today's Upsun live stream. And we hope that you found all this helpful and brought some kind of level of value to you. Hopefully, this is giving you some ideas and things to prep before Black Friday. It might be the thing right now. You got leadership and everybody saying, "Hey, we're on a code freeze." Cool. Now you have the time maybe to work on building this out and doing that and working from there. Of saying, "Hey, we're on a code freeze. This isn't on the app itself. I'd like to build this out with leadership and be able to go from there and then run some tests and see how it all works out." And this is probably the perfect time to do that. For me, I don't know. I like doing new things. So to me, it's like, oh, let's be a chance to play that out.
The exciting time. It's awesome.
Perfect. Well, before you go, we want to shout out a few things. Shout out to Shopware for doing this. Shout out to Thomas. I missed the name of it. Who built out the Shopware app for us to do this for the demo?
Vincent.
Vincent, thank you so much for that, helping us out with this. As always, Upsun, check out upsun.com. We've got free trials available. So if you just wanted to check this out and see if it works for you, we also have what we call our promotion for first-time users, where basically the only thing you'll pay for is you don't have to pay an organization fee. We credit you on that. You don't pay a user fee. We credit you on that, and all you're paying for is just the bare minimum of resources of whatever you need to play with and try with on your app. So we make it as easy for you to get impossible to go on there. Check out Blackfire, as Tomas showed it on there, being able to profile check on all this. It's a lot of the technology that's also behind some of the pieces of this that you're seeing, profiling and metrics going on there. So it's great to go check out all that. And other than that, I want to just thank everybody for joining us for this week's, I want to say this week's like we do it every week, but this session, this
One
stream.
day we will do it this weekly.
Yeah, but for now, thank you for joining us.
We're slowly scaling.
We'll get there. Yeah, hey, yeah, we're load testing our live streams to see what can Thomas and I handle, and go from there. And we'll keep going there. But otherwise, we want to say, hey, stay safe, keep coding, and until next time, take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.